If you don't decide what your time is for, something else will decide for you. And most of what fights for your attention does not care about your future. Your day doesn't disappear in one big mistake. It slips away in small distractions. One message, one scroll, one delay that feels harmless. You stay busy, but you don't move forward. You feel full, but not fulfilled. And slowly, self-trust weakens. This audiobook is not about productivity tricks. It is about control through clarity. Time is not just hours on a clock. It is your life force in motion. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. And wherever your energy goes consistently, your life begins to form. If you practice distraction, you become distractible. If you practice focus, you become powerful. Discipline is not about doing everything. It is about choosing what deserves access to your mind. You don't need more time. You need direction. So we begin with one decision: what actually matters, and what no longer gets your minutes. If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video. It tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now, and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Chapter 1. Before you try to manage your time, you have to decide what your time is for. Most people never do this. They wake up and move. They respond. They react. They follow what feels urgent. They chase what feels interesting. They handle what shows up. And at the end of the day, they feel tired but unclear, busy but unsatisfied, active but not advancing. Time is not the problem. The problem is that you have not made a clear decision about what truly matters to you. You already have 24 hours, the same as everyone else. But if you have not chosen what those hours are meant to build, they will be spent emotionally. Your time will go wherever your feelings go. If you feel bored, you scroll. If you feel stressed, you distract yourself. If you feel pressured, you react to whatever is loudest. And then you say, "I don't have time." That is not true. You have time. You just haven't decided what deserves it. Deciding what matters is the beginning of discipline, not the discipline of forcing yourself to suffer. The discipline of choosing what gets access to your attention. Because attention is your gateway. Whatever passes through it begins shaping your life. If you do not consciously define what matters, your environment will define it for you. Trends will define it. Other people's expectations will define it. Notifications will define it. And before you realize it, years will pass and you will have built something, but not what you truly wanted. So stop and ask yourself a simple, uncomfortable question. What actually matters to me? Not what sounds impressive, not what gets approval, not what looks successful from the outside. What matters to you 1 year from now? What do you want to become better at? What problems do you want to solve? What habits do you want to strengthen? What kind of person do you want to be known as? Disciplined, calm, strong, reliable. Until you answer that, your time will stay scattered. You will try to do everything and finish nothing. You will say yes to everyone and disappoint yourself. You will confuse movement with progress, and you will feel stuck, not because you are incapable, but because you are unfocused. Clarity brings power. The moment you decide what matters, something shifts inside you. Your energy organizes itself. Your mind becomes less noisy. You no longer feel pulled in 10 directions because you have chosen one direction. And when you choose one direction, you stop negotiating with every distraction that shows up. You do not need 100 productivity tools. You need a decision. When you know what matters, waking up early is no longer torture. You wake up because you have something meaningful to build. When you know what matters, saying no becomes easier. Not because you enjoy rejecting people, but because you understand the cost of every yes. When you know what matters, your schedule stops feeling like a prison and starts feeling like a strategy. There are things in your life right now that do not matter to your future. And deep down, you know what they are. The habits that numb you, the conversations that drain you, the routines that fill your day but empty your potential. You keep them because cutting them feels uncomfortable. You fear missing out. You fear disappointing someone. You fear being different. But ask yourself, what are you missing out on by keeping them? You are missing out on growth, on peace, on momentum, on becoming someone stronger and more consistent. Everything is not equal. Just because something feels urgent does not mean it is important. Just because something demands your attention does not mean it deserves it. You have to train yourself to pause before reacting, before opening your phone, before saying yes, before filling your calendar. Ask one question. Does this matter to my future? If the answer is no, it does not get your best energy. Managing your time is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things at the right time for the right reasons. When you chase everything, you become weak. When you chase what truly matters, you become unshakable. There is also something deeper happening when you choose what matters. Your nervous system calms down. Mental exhaustion often does not come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much of what does not align. When your actions and your values are disconnected, your system feels tension. When they are aligned, your energy rises. You feel lighter because you are no longer splitting yourself. From a psychological perspective, clarity reduces cognitive load. When you have defined priorities, your brain stops scanning endlessly for what to do next. It stops juggling 10 possible directions. It focuses, and focus creates progress. Progress creates confidence. Confidence strengthens identity. From an energetic perspective, when your choices align with your deeper intentions, your internal state stabilizes. You are no longer leaking energy through indecision. You are channeling it. And energy that is channeled becomes power. Most people never get far, not because they lack talent, but because they stay stuck in indecision. They are afraid to pick a path. They want to keep options open. They want to be everything at once. And in doing so, they become nothing in particular. Do not be that person. Be the one who wakes up and knows exactly what the day is about. Be the one who does not need constant reminders to stay focused because the mission is clear. You do not need more apps. You need a deep, personal decision about what matters and a daily commitment to give your time to it. That decision will simplify your life. It will reduce noise. It will build your confidence. It will strengthen your habits. You will not constantly fight yourself because you will be too focused to be distracted. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You will feel the pull to return to old habits, to check your phone, to say yes to everything, to start your day without direction. But every time you choose what matters over what is easy, you are rewiring your brain. You are training yourself to act with intention instead of impulse. That is freedom. So do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel motivated. Stop right now and ask yourself honestly, what actually matters to me? Write it down. Be specific. Choose one main direction. Then let everything else revolve around that. Because every minute you delay this decision is a minute you give away to something that does not build your future. Your life is shaped by what you give your time to. Decide what matters, and let that decision become the filter for everything that follows. Chapter 2. You rarely lose a day in one dramatic mistake. You lose it in small interruptions that feel harmless. A message here, a notification there, a quick scroll, a random thought that pulls you away from what you said you would do. None of it feels dangerous in the moment. It feels normal. It feels minor. But these small trades stack, and the cost is your focus, your momentum, and your confidence. Most people wake up with good intentions. They have something in mind, a task to finish, a habit to build, a goal to move toward. But before they begin, something small pulls them away. They answer a message. They check something that can wait. They open their phone for a minute, and that minute turns into 10, then 30. Then the energy they had for their priority is gone. This is how momentum dies. Not because you are incapable, not because your goals are too big, but because you keep handing your attention to things that did not earn it. Every time you allow a small interruption to redirect you, you are training your brain to react instead of lead. You are reinforcing the habit of distraction. You are telling your nervous system that whatever appears is more important than what you chose. And over time, that becomes your default mode. Reactive, scattered, slightly behind. You cannot afford that. Your attention is not unlimited. It is a finite cognitive resource. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a cost. It has to reload context, rebuild focus, re-enter depth. Even a short interruption can reduce the quality of your work for much longer than the interruption itself. But the deeper issue is not the science of switching. It is the standard you accept. If you believe every message deserves an instant response, you will live in reaction. If you believe every notification must be opened, you will never experience depth. If you believe being available all the time is productive, you will stay average. You need to build a new rule. Not everything that calls for your attention deserves it. That requires awareness. Pay attention to how your day slips. Notice the first interruption. Notice how it feels small and justified. It will only take a second. This is quick. I'll get back to my task right after. That voice is subtle, but it is powerful. And if you do not challenge it, it will run your day. There is one habit that can change everything. The pause. Before you open your phone, before you answer a call, before you say yes to a request, pause and ask yourself, does this deserve my attention right now? Not, is it interesting? Not, will it be awkward to ignore? But, does this align with what I decided matters? That one question can save hours, because most interruptions are not urgent. They are loud, and loud does not equal important. Strong people are not the ones who never get distracted. They are the ones who notice quickly and return. They do not let one interruption turn into a lost morning. They do not let a random thought pull them into an hour of avoidance. They catch themselves early. You have to become that person. Notice when the day starts slipping. Notice when your focus fractures. Notice when you are moving, but not progressing. And when you notice, do not judge yourself. Just return. Close the app. Silence the notification. Put the phone face down. Go back to what you chose. Every return strengthens you. Because focus is not a personality trait. It is a practiced skill. And every time you protect it, you train your mind to stay. There is also an energetic cost to constant interruption. When your attention is scattered, your energy scatters with it. You feel mentally tired, not because the work is too hard, but because you are constantly shifting states. Your system never settles. You never go deep enough to feel flow. You stay on the surface of everything. And surface living is exhausting. Depth restores energy. When you stay with one meaningful task long enough to make progress, something changes. You feel engaged. Time moves differently. You finish what you start. That completion releases mental space. It builds momentum. It builds belief. But you only get that when you protect your attention. Some people stay overwhelmed because they think they must respond to everything. They fear missing out. They feel guilty when they delay a reply. But here is the truth. If you say yes to every small thing, you are quietly saying no to your future. Every yes has a cost. If you spend your best hours reacting, you will have nothing left for creating. If you spend your strongest energy answering noise, you will have none left for building something meaningful. You need to simplify. Choose a few hours in your day that are protected. During those hours, you are not available. Not because you are arrogant, because you are serious. You are serious about what you are building. You are serious about your growth. You are serious about not living in constant reaction. You do not need to be busy all day. You need to be focused for a few powerful blocks of time. That is enough to move your life forward. If those blocks are clean, and that cleanliness begins in your thinking, stop believing that every small thing deserves your energy. Stop believing that constant responsiveness equals value. It does not. It equals distraction. Look at the people who create meaningful work. They are not reacting every minute. They are protecting space. They are turning things off. They are choosing what matters and staying with it long enough to see results. You can do the same. Tomorrow, do not leave your day open for anything to take it. Decide in advance what your priority is. Schedule it. Treat it as non-negotiable. And when something small tries to pull you away, pause. Ask the question. If the answer is no, walk away from the distraction, not angrily, not dramatically, calmly. Because your life is too important to be decided by notifications. You do not need perfect discipline. You need awareness and the courage to return, again and again. Small interruptions build small lives. Protected focus builds powerful ones. Choose which pattern you want to strengthen. Chapter 3. How you begin your morning shapes. How you experience the rest of your day. If your morning starts in noise, rush, and reaction, that state follows you. You wake up and immediately reach for your phone. You absorb other people's demands before you have even formed your own thoughts. Your mind becomes crowded before it has had a chance to center. And from that moment on, you are slightly behind, slightly scattered, slightly tense. But if your morning begins with order, even simple order, your entire internal state shifts. You feel grounded. You feel deliberate. You feel like the day belongs to you. You do not need a complicated routine. You need a controlled beginning. Most people treat mornings like an accident. They open their eyes and let whatever is loudest dictate the next move. Messages, emails, updates, noise. And without realizing it, they have surrendered the most powerful window of the day. The first moments when the mind is most impressionable. When you wake up, your brain is transitioning from rest to alertness. Your mental filters are not fully active yet. What you expose yourself to in that state goes in deeper. If you flood it with urgency and comparison, your nervous system locks into reaction mode. If you give it silence and direction, it locks into leadership mode. So the first rule of a powerful morning is simple. Do not check the world before you check yourself. Give yourself a few minutes of silence. No phone, no media, no outside voices. Just breathe. Let your mind stabilize. Let your thoughts settle. Even 5 to 10 minutes can reset your entire internal rhythm. During that space, ask yourself one clear question. What matters today? Not what is loud, not what is convenient. What matters? When you ask that question in silence, the answer is usually simple. It might be one task, one conversation, one step forward. That clarity becomes your anchor, and anchors prevent drift. Next, move your body. You do not need an intense workout, but you need movement. Stretch, walk, take a few deep breaths, drink water slowly. When you move your body, you activate your system. Blood flow increases, oxygen rises, your mind sharpens. You shift from passive to active. Energy is not only mental, it is physical. And when your body feels awake, your thoughts become clearer. When your body feels stagnant, your thoughts often follow. After that, look at your schedule, but not as a victim. Look at it as a designer. Do not simply react to what is listed. Decide the order. Choose what gets your best energy. Too many people spend their strongest hours on small, shallow tasks because they are easy. Then by the time they reach what truly matters, their focus is gone. Reverse that. Pick one priority that moves your life forward and place it first. Protect it. Give it your best mental state. That single decision changes how your day unfolds. There is also something psychological happening when you build a consistent morning structure. Your brain begins to associate mornings with clarity instead of chaos. Repetition builds stability. Stability reduces stress. Over time, you wake up not with anxiety, but with direction. A controlled morning does not mean a long to-do list. It means clarity and intention. It means your actions are connected to your values. You are not doing things just to feel busy. You are doing things because they matter. That difference is powerful. Another damaging habit is starting your day in comparison. You open social media. You see other people's highlights, their progress, their announcements, and before you have even built your own momentum, you are measuring yourself against someone else's timeline. That weakens your focus. The morning is not the time for comparison. It is the time for construction. Construction of your mindset. Construction of your direction. Construction of your identity. Build first. Compare later, if at all. You can also use mornings to strengthen emotional stability. A short moment of reflection or gratitude can shift your perspective. Not forced positivity. Not pretending everything is perfect. Just awareness. Awareness that you are alive. That you have another day. That you have the ability to choose. That awareness builds calm confidence. And confidence built quietly in the morning carries through the entire day. Focus on one more thing. Nourishment. Fuel your body in a way that supports clarity. When your body is underfed or overstimulated, your mind struggles. Care for your physical system not because it is trendy, but because your potential deserves support. The goal of your morning is simple. Peace, power, and purpose. Peace, so your mind is not racing. Power, so your energy is awake. Purpose, so your direction is clear. When you begin this way, challenges during the day do not shake you as easily. Unexpected problems will still come. People will still need you. Plans will still shift, but you will respond differently because you did not start from chaos. You started from control. You do not need perfection. You need consistency. Start small. Do not try to add 20 new habits at once. Choose 2 or 3 actions that ground you and repeat them daily. That repetition becomes your anchor. Over time, your mornings become a place of strength instead of stress. Remember this. Your day does not start when work begins. It starts the moment you open your eyes. And what you do in those first moments determines whether you drift through the hours or direct them. Make a new decision. Starting tomorrow, build a morning that reminds you who you are and what you are building. Not confusion, not reaction, control. Because when you control your beginning, you influence your entire trajectory. Lead your day from the first breath. Chapter 4. There is something in your life right now that you are avoiding. You know exactly what it is. It is the task you keep pushing to tomorrow. The decision you do not want to make. The conversation you are postponing. The habit you promised yourself you would fix. It sits quietly in the background of your mind, and even when you try to relax, it is there. Avoidance is not neutral. It is expensive. When you delay something important, it does not disappear. It becomes mental weight. It drains energy from everything else you try to do. You start your day already carrying it. You feel slightly tense without knowing why. Slightly irritated. Slightly distracted. That is the cost of unfinished business. Most people think they are tired because they are working too much. Often, they are tired because they are carrying too many things they should have already handled. Every unfinished task takes up cognitive space. Your brain tracks it in the background. It keeps reminding you. And the longer you delay it, the bigger it feels. What might take 20 minutes to complete can feel like a mountain simply because you let it grow in your imagination. The buildup is usually worse than the action. Avoidance also damages something deeper: self-trust. Every time you tell yourself you will do something and then you don't, you weaken your internal credibility. You begin to see yourself as someone who delays, someone who negotiates with discomfort, someone who starts but does not finish. That identity becomes dangerous because once you stop trusting yourself to follow through, everything becomes harder. Goals feel heavier. Plans feel unrealistic. Discipline feels forced. But the opposite is also true. Every time you face something you have been avoiding, even something small, you strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself that discomfort does not control you. You build confidence not through motivation, but through action. Strong people are not fearless. They simply do not let fear dictate their schedule. Look at what you have been pushing away. Write it down if you need to. See it clearly. Do not let it stay vague. Vagueness makes things feel larger than they are. Then apply a simple rule. If I avoid it, I do it next. Not after you clean your inbox. Not after you organize your desk. Not after you scroll for a few minutes. Next. Handle it while your energy is still strong. Handle it before your brain starts negotiating. Sit down and begin. Do not wait for the perfect mood. The mood will follow the action. There is something powerful that happens when you complete an avoided task. Your mind clears. Your body relaxes. Your confidence rises. You feel lighter almost immediately. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. You closed a loop that was draining you. From a psychological perspective, avoidance keeps your stress response activated. Your brain interprets unfinished threats as unresolved. When you face the task, you signal safety and control. Your nervous system stabilizes. From an energetic perspective, when you stop running and start facing, your energy consolidates. It stops leaking through fear and indecision. It channels forward. Most stress does not come from what we do. It comes from what we delay. That conversation you are avoiding, it is costing you mental space every day. That form you need to fill out. It is draining energy simply by existing unfinished. That habit you know is harming you. It is quietly shaping your identity every time you skip the change. Face it. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be direct. Discomfort is not a sign to retreat. It is often a sign that growth is near. The things you resist the most are often the things that will free you the most once handled. Build this mindset. Discomfort is the price of progress. When you start seeing discomfort as a path instead of a threat, everything shifts. You no longer wait for life to feel easy before you move. You move, and ease follows. There is also a pattern to avoidance. It becomes easier each time you choose it. One delay leads to another. One excuse makes the next excuse easier. Soon, delay becomes identity. Break that pattern early. You do not need to conquer your entire life today. You need to handle one thing you have been dodging. Just one. That is enough to shift momentum. Momentum is built through completion. Completion builds clarity. Clarity builds strength. And strength builds a life that feels solid instead of fragile. So right now, think about the one thing you have been running from. The one that keeps resurfacing. The one that quietly bothers you. Stop carrying it. Take a breath. Begin. Even if it is messy. Even if it is imperfect. Even if it feels uncomfortable. Because once it is done, it is gone. And in its place, you gain space. You gain calm. You gain trust in yourself. No one builds a powerful life by avoiding reality. You build power by walking directly into what needs to be handled and handling it. Not later. Now. Habits become your life. If you build the habit of facing, your life becomes strong. If you build the habit of avoiding, your life becomes fragile. Choose your habit. Face what you have been postponing. Close the loop. Reclaim your energy. And feel what it is like to be in control again. Chapter 5. Every single day, you are trading your time for something. Whether you realize it or not, you are always making exchanges. An hour for entertainment, 2 hours for growth, 30 minutes for distraction, 10 minutes for clarity. Time is constantly moving out of your hands and into something else. And the question is simple. What are you buying with it? Time is the only currency you never earn back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose opportunities and find new ones. But when an hour passes, it is gone. It becomes part of your past. It becomes part of the story you are writing about who you are. Yet most people treat time as if it is unlimited. They give it to conversations that drain them. They give it to habits that weaken them. They give it to routines that keep them stuck in the same place year after year. And then they look at their lives and wonder why nothing has changed. Time does not lie. If you want to know what someone truly values, look at where their hours go. Not what they say, not what they post, not what they intend. Look at what they repeat. If something is not adding to your direction, it is subtracting from it. This is not about becoming extreme or cutting out all pleasure. It is about becoming conscious. Conscious of what you allow into your schedule. Conscious of what you give your attention to. Conscious of what you repeat daily. Small actions, repeated consistently, build your lifestyle. And your lifestyle builds your identity. If you spend hours every day consuming, reacting, drifting, you are training yourself to live in passive mode. If you spend even one focused hour building something meaningful, learning a skill, strengthening your body, deepening your thinking, you are training yourself to grow. You cannot build your future while giving your best time to things that have no place in it. Ask yourself honestly, is this helping me grow? Is this moving me closer to who I want to become? Is this something I will thank myself for later? If the answer is no, then you need to reconsider why it continues to exist in your routine. Every yes has a cost. When you say yes to a distraction, you are saying no to progress. When you say yes to something shallow, you are saying no to depth. When you say yes to comfort, you are saying no to growth. Most people never realize the cost because it is spread out over years. It is not dramatic. It is subtle. 1 hour lost today, another tomorrow, a few hours each week. And suddenly 5 years have passed with very little change. The habit of mindlessly passing time is what keeps people average. It is not lack of intelligence. It is not lack of opportunity. It is lack of intentionality. If you want to take control of your time, start tracking it. Not to judge yourself, but to see clearly. Write down how you spend your day. Look at it honestly. How much of it builds you? How much of it maintains you? How much of it drains you? You cannot change what you refuse to face. Once you see it, you gain power. Because now you have data. Now you can cut. Now you can replace. Replace one draining hour with one building hour. Replace one meaningless habit with one strengthening habit. Do not try to change everything at once. Just shift the balance. Over time, that shift compounds. From a psychological perspective, repeated focus builds neural pathways. The more you invest time in a skill or habit, the stronger it becomes in your mind. The easier it becomes, the more automatic it feels. Growth becomes less effortful because you trained your system to expect it. From an energetic perspective, where you repeatedly place your attention becomes the dominant vibration of your life. If your time goes to distraction, your internal state becomes restless. If your time goes to construction, your internal state becomes steady. You begin to feel aligned. You may need to change who you spend time with. If the people around you do not respect your time, they will constantly pull you away from what matters. If conversations are always negative, if habits are always passive, you will feel that influence. Environment shapes behavior. You do not need to cut everyone off, but you do need to protect your direction. If someone constantly pulls you toward distraction, you must create space. Your future cannot be built in constant noise. You might need to say no more often, not aggressively, calmly, respectfully, but firmly. You might need to spend more time alone building your skills while others are spending time escaping theirs. This will feel uncomfortable at first, because you are breaking old patterns. You are choosing long-term strength over short-term approval. But this is the difference between dreaming and doing. The people who build powerful lives are not the ones who do everything. They are the ones who choose carefully. They choose a few meaningful priorities and give them consistent time. You do not need to be busy all day. You need to be effective. One meaningful action per day compounds faster than 10 shallow actions that lead nowhere. Stop chasing busy. Chase alignment. Chase the kind of day where, at the end, you can say, I moved forward. Even slightly, even quietly. Protect blocks of time where you do not respond to anything. No messages, no notifications, just focused effort or intentional rest. That is where breakthroughs happen. Not in chaos, in clarity. You will never regret the hours you invested in growth. You will never look back and wish you had spent more time scrolling. But you may regret the time you gave away without thinking. Your future is shaped by repeated choices, so choose better, not harder, just better. Give your time only to what builds your future, what strengthens your mind, what sharpens your discipline, what aligns with who you want to become. Because time is always moving, and the person you are becoming is built by what you give it to. Chapter 6. There will be days when everything feels out of control. You wake up already behind. Messages are waiting. Deadlines are close. People need something from you. Your mind feels scattered before you even begin. And the instinct in those moments is to move faster, to react quickly, to try to handle everything at once. That instinct is what keeps you trapped in chaos. When your day feels overwhelming, the solution is not speed, it is clarity. Not everything that feels urgent is important. Not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Urgency is loud. Importance is quiet. And if you do not know the difference, you will spend your entire day chasing noise. When everything feels important, nothing meaningful gets done. This is where you must pause and check your priorities. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself one question. What actually matters today? Not what just showed up. Not what feels stressful. What truly moves your life forward? What, if completed, would make you feel proud by the end of the day? That question alone can save hours of wasted energy, because chaos grows when you try to do everything at once. It shrinks when you choose one clear direction. Most overwhelm is not caused by too much to do. It is caused by a lack of hierarchy. You have not ranked what matters, so everything feels equal. And when everything feels equal, your brain goes into stress mode. Stress mode narrows your thinking. It makes you reactive. It makes you short-tempered. It makes you jump from task to task without finishing any of them. But when you check your priorities, you restore structure. You remind yourself that you are not here to handle everything. You are here to handle what matters. Start by identifying your top 3 non-negotiables for the day. No more than 3. These are the tasks, habits, or decisions that align with your long-term direction. These are not random errands. These are meaningful actions. Once they are defined, block time for them. When distractions appear, and they will, you remind yourself, my priorities come first. This is not selfish. It is strategic. There is a psychological reason this works. When you define clear priorities, you reduce decision fatigue. Your brain no longer wastes energy constantly asking, what should I do next? It knows. That certainty frees cognitive space. It increases focus. It lowers anxiety. From an energetic perspective, clarity consolidates your internal force. Instead of scattering energy across 10 minor tasks, you channel it into one meaningful action. That concentration builds momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence reduces chaos. You also need to challenge your relationship with urgency. Urgency often feels like pressure, and pressure feels important. But pressure is not always aligned with your growth. Sometimes it is simply someone else's lack of planning. If you chase every urgent request, you will live in reaction mode forever. You must ask, will this still matter a week from now? A month from now? If not, it likely does not deserve your best energy today. Strong people do not confuse movement with progress. They understand that real progress is often quiet and focused. It does not look dramatic. It looks deliberate. When your day feels chaotic, it is a signal. Not to push harder. To reset direction. Check your schedule. Remove what can wait. Delegate what is not yours. Delay what is not aligned. Simplify. You are not obligated to carry everything. Another powerful practice is single tasking during chaotic days. When you feel scattered, commit to one task and finish it completely before moving to the next. Even if everything else is messy, that one completion builds stability. Completion creates order inside disorder. Each time you finish something meaningful, you regain control. You remind yourself that you are capable. You prove that chaos does not own you. And here is something important. You may need to disappoint people. You may need to say no. You may need to delay responses. You may need to prioritize your long-term growth over short-term approval. That is not weakness. That is leadership. If you are unwilling to pay the cost of clarity, you will continue paying the price of chaos. Some days will feel heavier than others. That is part of life. But even on heavy days, the rule stays the same. Check your priorities. Do not react immediately. Respond intentionally. The difference between a chaotic life and a controlled life is not the absence of pressure. It is the presence of clarity under pressure. You do not need a perfect day. You need a focused one. You do not need to solve every problem. You need to handle what truly matters. Every time you pause and choose deliberately, you strengthen your internal authority. You train your mind to slow down instead of spiral. You show yourself that stress does not control your direction. Control is not about eliminating chaos. It is about deciding what receives your energy within it. So the next time your day feels overwhelming, do not speed up. Slow down. Ask the question. Choose the priority. Act on it with full focus. And let the rest wait. Because clarity, even for a single moment, can restore control to an entire day. Chapter 7. There is a moment in every day when your future is decided quietly. It is not dramatic. It does not come with an announcement. It comes when you know exactly what you should do, and you do not feel like doing it. That is the moment. You feel the pull towards something easier. Your phone, your bed, a distraction, a delay. Your mind whispers, you can do it later. You deserve a break. It's not that important. And in that small space between what you should do and what feels comfortable, your identity is being shaped. Most people think success is built in big moves. It is not. It is built in these small decisions repeated daily. When you choose comfort over effort often enough, you train your mind to avoid growth. You teach yourself that ease is the priority, and that lesson spreads. One skipped task becomes easier to skip the next. One delayed habit becomes a pattern. One excuse becomes your default voice. This is how average is built, not through failure, but through comfort. Comfort does not challenge you. It does not stretch you. It does not demand growth. It keeps you exactly where you are. Effort, on the other hand, reshapes you. Effort does not always feel good in the moment. It often feels heavy at first. But it creates momentum, and momentum creates strength. You need a rule. When you feel lazy, you move. Not recklessly, not obsessively, but deliberately. When your mind says, stop, and you know you have not earned rest yet, you take one step. Just one. You begin the task. You open the document. You start the workout. You make the call. You act before your emotions build a case against you. Because emotions are temporary. Standards are lasting. From a psychological standpoint, action generates motivation. Most people wait to feel ready before they begin. But readiness is often the result of starting, not the cause. Once you move, your brain shifts states. Energy rises, resistance lowers, motion changes emotion. From a deeper perspective, choosing effort strengthens your internal structure. Every time you do the hard thing, instead of the easy one, you reinforce a powerful identity. I am someone who follows through. That identity becomes your foundation. And once you believe you are someone who follows through, discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes natural. You no longer argue with yourself constantly. You simply act according to your standard. Laziness is not always obvious. Sometimes it looks like staying busy with the wrong tasks, avoiding the important one by doing easier ones, rearranging instead of building, consuming instead of creating. It hides in justification. You have to learn to recognize it. Notice the moments when you stall. Notice the tasks you postpone repeatedly. Notice the stories you tell yourself to delay growth. Then challenge them. Ask yourself, is this choice helping me or holding me back? You do not need to win the entire day. You need to win the moment in front of you. If you win enough moments, the day shifts. If you win enough days, your life shifts. Effort is not about pushing yourself to exhaustion. It is about showing up consistently. It is about choosing growth more often than comfort. It is about acting even when nobody is watching. Because the real battle is internal. It is always you versus your excuses. And excuses are seductive. They sound logical. They sound kind. They protect you from discomfort, but they also protect you from progress. When you consistently choose effort, something powerful happens. You build self-respect. You no longer rely on external praise. You do not need constant validation. You know you showed up. You know you earned your progress. That quiet confidence is stronger than motivation. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel energetic. But your behavior should not depend on your mood. It should depend on your standard. Raise your standard. Tell yourself, this is who I am. I act even when I do not feel like it. I move even when it is inconvenient. I build even when it is slow. That shift alone separates dreamers from builders. People often wait for perfect timing. They think they will start when life calms down, when they have more energy, when circumstances align. Life rarely aligns perfectly. The time you have now is the only guaranteed time. Use it. Even if the step is small, even if it feels imperfect, even if progress feels slow. Small, consistent effort compounds. Momentum builds quietly. And once momentum builds, comfort loses its power over you. You are not lazy by nature. You are simply conditioned by repetition. If you have repeated comfort long enough, it feels normal. But you can condition yourself differently. Train your mind to move when it wants to stop. Train your body to act when it wants to delay. Train your identity to align with growth. Effort will never betray you. It may not reward you instantly. It may not feel dramatic, but it strengthens you. It sharpens you. It builds resilience. And resilience is what carries you when motivation fades. So when the lazy voice shows up, and it will, stand your ground. Take one step, then another. Do not collapse into old patterns. Choose effort. Because every time you do, you prove that comfort does not control your life. You control it. Chapter 8. There are people in your life who influence your energy more than you realize. Some leave you feeling clearer, stronger, motivated. Others leave you feeling heavy, distracted, emotionally drained. And if you do not pay attention, you will give your time and attention to both equally. That is a mistake. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Energy is not just physical. It is emotional and mental. When you spend time with someone who constantly complains, criticizes, gossips, or creates drama, your nervous system absorbs it. Your thoughts become clouded. Your mood shifts. Your focus weakens. It does not always happen loudly. It happens subtly. A comment here, a negative tone there, a repeated pattern of chaos, disguised as connection. If you are building something meaningful with your life, you cannot afford to let draining patterns shape your mental state. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is strategic. Peace is not a luxury you enjoy once everything is perfect. It is the condition required for clarity. Without peace, you cannot think deeply. You cannot stay disciplined. You cannot focus long enough to build anything substantial. From a psychological perspective, emotional contagion is real. Humans mirror each other's states. If you surround yourself with negativity, your brain normalizes it. If you surround yourself with growth, your brain adapts upward. Environment programs behavior. If someone constantly interrupts your focus, dismisses your goals, mocks your discipline, or pulls you into unnecessary emotional cycles, you must evaluate the cost. Ask yourself, how do I feel after spending time with this person? Lighter or heavier? Clearer or more confused? Motivated or drained? Your body already knows the answer. You just have to listen. This is not about judging others. It is about choosing alignment. Some people are not bad. They are simply not aligned with who you are becoming. And if you are serious about growth, alignment matters more than history. Just because someone has known you for a long time does not mean they deserve unlimited access to your future. Time does not equal compatibility. Familiarity does not equal support. You are allowed to care about someone and still create distance. You are allowed to love someone and still protect your space. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They filter what enters your mental environment. If someone consistently drains your energy, limit exposure. Shorter conversations, less emotional involvement, clearer expectations. You do not need drama. You need clarity. Strong people are not heartless. They are intentional. They understand that their energy is finite. If they give too much of it to chaos, they will have none left for creation. And creation requires focus. There is also a deeper energetic principle here. The people around you amplify certain parts of you. If you are around disciplined people, your discipline strengthens. If you are around unfocused people, your distractions increase. Energy aligns with proximity. So ask yourself, who strengthens the version of me I want to become? Spend more time with them. Who weakens it? Create space. You do not need to announce your boundaries loudly. You do not need to explain every decision. Sometimes quiet distance is enough. Sometimes fewer responses are enough. Sometimes simply not engaging in negativity is enough. Your peace is a shield. Do not lower it for the sake of approval. When you protect your peace, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes clearer. Your thoughts become sharper. Your emotional baseline stabilizes. You wake up without tension. You work without constant interference. You regain control. And once you feel that stability, you will not want to trade it for chaos again. You are not responsible for carrying other people's unresolved patterns. You are not here to fix everyone. You are not obligated to absorb negativity out of guilt. Your responsibility is to build your life. That requires space, silence, focus. It requires relationships that respect your time and direction. If someone cannot respect your boundaries, that tells you everything you need to know. Because people who truly value you will not resent your growth. They will not sabotage your discipline. They will not demand access to you at the cost of your peace. They will support your path. Make peace non-negotiable. When you do, your discipline strengthens automatically. Your focus deepens. Your productivity increases. Not because you are forcing it, but because you removed the drain. Your future is too important to leave it in the hands of people who do not carry any part of your vision. Choose your circle carefully. Choose your environment intentionally. Choose your peace deliberately. Because the stronger your peace, the stronger your mind. And the stronger your mind, the stronger your life becomes. Chapter 9. There comes a point when your mind is full. Not full of clarity, full of noise. You have opened too many tabs, answered too many messages, switched tasks too many times. You feel busy, but nothing feels complete. You are moving, but not progressing. You are thinking, but not deeply. And instead of stepping back, most people add more. Another notification, another scroll, another check, another quick reply. But when your mind is begging for focus, the most powerful move you can make is to turn everything off. Not lower the volume, not mute one app. Turn it off. Because focus is not a talent. It is a decision. You cannot build anything meaningful when your attention is divided into fragments. Your brain was not designed to handle constant interruption. Every switch costs energy. Every notification pulls you out of depth. Every quick check resets your concentration. And depth is where progress lives. Most people never go deep. They skim. They respond. They multitask. They live on the surface of their work and then wonder why their results feel average. Surface effort creates surface outcomes. If you want depth, you must create it deliberately. That means choosing a block of time where nothing else exists except the task in front of you. No phone within reach, no open messages, no background media, no just-in-case tabs open. Just you and the work. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will crave stimulation. You will feel restless. You will remember random things you need to check. That discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that your brain has been conditioned to constant input. You are not weak. You are overstimulated. And like any conditioning, it can be retrained. When you sit in silence and continue anyway, your mind begins to settle. The noise fades. Your thoughts become clearer. You start to see connections. You enter flow. Flow is not accidental. It is earned through uninterrupted focus. From a cognitive perspective, deep work strengthens neural pathways related to concentration and problem solving. The more you practice sustained attention, the more capable your brain becomes at holding complexity without fatigue. From a deeper perspective, when you remove external noise, you reconnect with internal direction. You stop reacting and start creating. Creation requires space. You cannot hear your own ideas when the world is louder than your thoughts. That is why solitude is powerful, not isolation. Solitude with purpose. Time alone with your task, your goal, your thinking. Many distractions are chosen. No one forced you to open that app. No one required you to check that message immediately. Habit did. Restlessness did. Avoidance did. You must break that cycle consciously. Create rules, real rules. From 9 to 10, I am unreachable. During this block, my phone is off. For the next hour, this task gets all of me. These rules remove negotiation. They protect your attention before temptation appears. Even one focused hour per day can change your trajectory. Because 1 hour of depth is often worth 3 hours of scattered effort. You will notice something when you practice this consistently. You feel calmer. Not because there is less to do, but because you are no longer splitting yourself. Your energy is directed. Your mind is stable. Completion feels satisfying again. You walk away from your work feeling proud, not just relieved. That is the difference between distraction and discipline. Distraction keeps you in constant reaction. Discipline creates controlled intensity. Most people are tired, not because they work too much, but because they never fully commit to one thing at a time. Their brain is always half engaged, half present, half finished. Half effort leads to half results. You deserve better than that. When it is time to focus, treat it as sacred. Protect it like it matters, because it does. Your future is shaped not only by what you work on, but by how focused you are while working on it. Silence is not empty. It is powerful. In silence, you build mastery. In silence, you solve problems. In silence, you sharpen your thinking. Noise feels productive. Silence creates results. There will always be something pulling at your attention. A new message, a new update, a new distraction. But none of those build your future. Depth does. So make it a rule. When it is time to focus, everything else turns off. No excuses, no compromises. Give your full attention to what you decided matters, because attention is your life force. And when you concentrate it fully, you stop leaking potential. You start building something real. Chapter 10. The day is over. Whatever happened, good or bad, is behind you now. But how you end your day determines how you begin the next one. Most people waste their nights without realizing it. They numb themselves with endless scrolling. They fill the silence with noise. They distract themselves until they are too tired to think. Then they collapse into sleep, carrying unfinished thoughts, unresolved tension, and scattered emotions. And the next morning, they wake up heavy. Your night is not just for sleep. It is your reset point. If the morning sets direction, the night restores alignment. You cannot build powerful mornings on chaotic nights. If you carry the weight of today into tomorrow without processing it, you wake up already behind. Your nervous system remains activated. Your mind stays cluttered. Your focus weakens before the day even begins. Strong people use their nights intentionally, not to escape the day, but to close it properly. Start with silence. Turn off the noise earlier than usual. Let your mind slow down. You have been reacting all day. You deserve a few minutes of quiet reflection. Ask yourself simple questions. What did I do well today? Where did I lose focus? What did I avoid? What will I correct tomorrow? This is not about self-criticism. It is about self-awareness. When you reflect honestly, you prevent mistakes from repeating automatically. You turn experience into improvement. Reflection clears mental loops. From a psychological perspective, journaling or structured reflection reduces rumination. When you write something down or consciously process it, your brain releases it. You reduce cognitive load. You sleep deeper because your mind is not fighting unfinished thoughts. From a deeper level, reflection reconnects you with intention. It reminds you that you are not drifting through days. You are shaping them. After reflection, reset direction. If today did not go as planned, you do not need to wait for a new week or a new month. You reset tonight. You choose again. You adjust tomorrow's priorities. You identify one meaningful action for the morning. This builds resilience. Resilience is not about never falling off track. It is about getting back on quickly. People who stay stuck are not always less capable. They simply delay resetting. They allow one bad day to turn into 3, 3 into 7, 7 into a pattern. Break that pattern every night. You also need to wind down your body intentionally. Your nervous system has been stimulated all day. If you go from full activity directly into sleep without slowing down, your rest will be shallow. Dim the lights. Step away from screens. Read something that strengthens your thinking. Prepare your environment for calm. Treat sleep as recovery, not escape. Your body is not separate from your discipline. If your rest is weak, your focus weakens. If your focus weakens, your effort declines. Respect your recovery. There is something powerful about closing the day with intention. It builds trust. You prove to yourself that you can end even a messy day with clarity. You are not defined by a single mistake. You are defined by how you respond to it. Resetting is maturity. You do not punish yourself. You do not ignore reality. You learn. You adjust. You commit again. That cycle, reflect, adjust, recommit, is how long-term growth happens. Think of your night as the final decision of the day. You either end in distraction or in direction. You either carry noise into tomorrow or close the loop tonight. Choose direction. Before you sleep, decide who you are tomorrow morning. Decide what matters. Decide how you will show up. This is powerful because your subconscious continues working while you rest. The last thoughts you hold influence the mental state you wake up with. If you close the day in chaos, you wake up scattered. If you close it in clarity, you wake up grounded. You cannot control everything that happens during the day, but you can control how you end it. That control builds confidence. It builds the identity of someone who does not drift, someone who does not give up on themselves, someone who resets quickly and moves forward. No matter how today felt, you still have tonight. Use it. Take 5 minutes or 50, but do not hand that time to noise. Do not let distraction steal your reset. Your future does not begin in the morning. It begins the moment you choose to realign, and that moment can be now. Chapter 11. Your attention is your life force, not in a poetic way, in a literal one. Where your attention goes, your brain builds pathways. Where your brain builds pathways, behavior follows. And where behavior repeats, identity forms. You are not only shaped by what you do, you are shaped by what you repeatedly focus on. If you focus on distraction, you strengthen distraction. If you focus on negativity, you strengthen negativity. If you focus on growth, you strengthen growth. Attention is not passive, it is creative. From a scientific perspective, your brain is constantly rewiring itself. This is neuroplasticity. The circuits you use frequently become stronger. The ones you ignore weaken. That means every time you direct your focus intentionally, you are physically reshaping your mind. Think about that. When you scroll mindlessly for hours, you are not just wasting time. You are training your brain to crave stimulation, novelty, and interruption. You are reinforcing short attention spans. You are making depth harder. But when you practice sustained focus, reflection, learning, and disciplined effort, you are strengthening the neural systems that support clarity and control. Your brain becomes what you rehearse. And rehearsal happens through attention. This is why attention is your most valuable asset. Not money, not connections, not talent. Without attention, none of those can be used effectively. You can have skill, but if you cannot focus, you will not refine it. You can have opportunity, but if you are distracted, you will miss it. You can have ambition, but if your attention is scattered, you will not act consistently. Most people think their problem is lack of time. The deeper problem is lack of concentrated attention. Your life does not move in the direction of your wishes. It moves in the direction of your focus. If you spend most of your attention on what is wrong, your perception of life becomes negative. If you spend most of your attention on what you can build, your perception becomes constructive. Energy follows attention. When you focus on something repeatedly, you amplify it internally. It gains emotional weight. It gains priority. It begins influencing your decisions automatically. That is why protecting your attention is not optional. It is foundational. Ask yourself, what dominates my focus daily? Is it problems or solutions? Is it comparison or construction? Is it consumption or creation? You do not have to be perfect, but you must be aware, because awareness is the first step to redirection. There is also a subtle energetic principle here. Attention is not just observation, it is engagement. When you focus on something, you feed it mental energy. The more energy you feed something, the more it grows in your internal world. If you constantly feed fear, fear grows. If you constantly feed discipline, discipline grows. If you constantly feed distraction, distraction grows. This is not mystical. It is pattern reinforcement. Your internal world expands in the direction of your repeated focus. So what are you expanding? When you sit down to work and your mind wanders, that is not weakness. It is conditioning. You have trained your attention to jump. You can train it to stay. The training is simple, but not easy. Choose one task. Set a defined period of time. Keep your focus there. When your mind drifts, gently return. Each return is a repetition. Each repetition strengthens control. You are building mental muscle. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. Focus stops feeling forced. It becomes natural. Your mind stops resisting depth because it is no longer addicted to fragmentation. And once your attention stabilizes, your results accelerate. Because concentrated attention multiplies output. 1 hour of full focus often produces more meaningful progress than 3 hours of partial engagement. Attention also shapes emotion. If you constantly focus on what is missing, you feel inadequate. If you constantly focus on what is improving, you feel momentum. If you constantly focus on others' progress, you feel behind. If you focus on your own path, you feel grounded. Your emotional baseline reflects your focus patterns. That means you have more control than you think. You cannot always control circumstances, but you can control where you direct your attention inside them. And that shift changes everything. Strong people are not free from distraction. They are skilled at redirecting attention. When they notice drift, they return. When they notice negativity, they reframe. When they notice wasted focus, they cut it. They protect their mental bandwidth because they understand this truth. Your attention is the raw material of your life. Whatever you build it with attention first. So if you want to upgrade your life, upgrade your focus. Guard it, train it, respect it. Because the quality of your attention determines the quality of your days, and the quality of your days determines the quality of your life. Chapter 12. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. Not what you intend, not what you promise, not what you post, what you repeat. Identity is not a fixed trait. It is a pattern hardened over time. Every small action you take is casting a vote for the type of person you believe yourself to be. And those votes accumulate. If you consistently delay, you begin to see yourself as someone who procrastinates. If you consistently follow through, you begin to see yourself as disciplined. If you consistently protect your focus, you begin to see yourself as serious about your future. This is the identity loop. Action shapes belief. Belief shapes action. And the cycle continues. Most people try to change their lives by changing goals. Very few change their lives by changing identity. You do not rise to the level of your ambitions. You fall to the level of your habits. If your daily behavior does not align with the person you want to become, your mind experiences conflict, and that conflict drains energy. You feel guilty. You feel inconsistent. You feel slightly disconnected from your own potential. But when your behavior aligns with your chosen identity, everything feels stronger, simpler, more stable. If you decide, I am someone who protects my time, your choices begin to reflect that. You say no faster. You turn off distractions earlier. You structure your day more clearly. Not because someone forced you, because it matches who you believe you are. Identity reduces negotiation. From a psychological perspective, humans are wired for consistency. Once you internalize a belief about yourself, you subconsciously act in ways that confirm it. This is cognitive consistency. If you believe you are disciplined, you are more likely to behave in disciplined ways. If you believe you are disorganized, you will unconsciously support that belief. Your self-image becomes a filter. That is why you must be careful what you reinforce. Every time you skip what matters, you reinforce an identity of delay. Every time you follow through, you reinforce an identity of reliability. And reliability builds self-trust. Self-trust is one of the most powerful assets you can develop. It is the quiet confidence that when you say you will do something, you do it. It eliminates internal doubt. It removes hesitation. It stabilizes your direction. Without self-trust, goals feel fragile. With self-trust, goals feel achievable. From a deeper perspective, identity alignment creates energetic coherence. When your actions, thoughts, and values point in the same direction, your internal resistance decreases. You feel less divided, less conflicted, more focused. Coherence amplifies power. So instead of asking, "What do I want to achieve?" ask, "Who do I want to become?" Do you want to become someone focused, someone calm under pressure, someone who finishes what they start, someone who values growth over comfort? If yes, then begin acting as that person would act today. Not perfectly, but consistently. The identity you are building is shaped by small decisions. When you wake up and choose silence over scrolling, when you face a task instead of avoiding it, when you protect a block of focus, when you reset at night instead of escaping, each of those is a vote. You do not need to transform overnight. You need to accumulate votes in the direction you choose. There is also power in raising your standards. Standards determine behavior more reliably than motivation. If your standard is, "I do what feels good," your actions will fluctuate. If your standard is, "I honor my commitments," your actions stabilize. Standards define identity. When you raise your standards, you naturally eliminate behaviors that do not align. You stop negotiating with excuses because they do not fit who you believe yourself to be. This is how discipline becomes natural, not by forcing yourself daily, but by deciding who you are and acting accordingly. You must also stop reinforcing negative identities. Stop saying, "I'm just bad at time management." Stop saying, "I've always been disorganized." Stop defining yourself by past patterns. Patterns can change. Identity can evolve. But only if you stop rehearsing the old story. From this point forward, define yourself by the direction you are building, not by the mistakes you made. Each day is an opportunity to reinforce a new identity. When you protect your focus, you are becoming focused. When you say no to distraction, you are becoming disciplined. When you reset quickly, you are becoming resilient. You are not stuck. You are patterned. And patterns can be redesigned. The identity loop works whether you are aware of it or not. The question is, are you building it intentionally? Choose who you want to be. Then act in alignment with that choice, even in small ways. Over time, the identity becomes real, solid, unquestioned. And once your identity aligns with your goals, time management becomes easier. Discipline becomes simpler. Progress becomes natural. Because you are no longer trying to force yourself into growth. You are living as someone who grows. Chapter 13. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Most people say they are busy. Few can explain exactly where their time goes. That lack of awareness is dangerous. If you want to manage your time wisely, you need to see it clearly, not emotionally, not defensively, factually. This is where the time audit becomes powerful. For the next few days, track your hours. Write down what you actually do, not what you planned to do, not what you intended, what you did. Be honest. 30 minutes scrolling, 40 minutes reacting to messages, 2 hours working deeply, 1 hour distracted between tasks. When you see it on paper, something shifts. Vague guilt becomes clear data, and clear data creates leverage. You will likely notice 3 categories emerging: time that builds you, time that maintains you, time that drains you. Building time includes focused work, learning, exercise, planning, deep thinking, intentional connection. Maintaining time includes necessary tasks, errands, basic communication, responsibilities that keep life functioning. Draining time includes endless scrolling, repetitive distraction, unnecessary arguments, passive consumption, tasks that feel busy but create no growth. You do not need to eliminate all draining time immediately. That would be unrealistic, but you must reduce it intentionally. The mistake most people make is trying to resist bad habits without replacing them. Resistance alone requires willpower. Replacement requires design. If you remove 1 draining hour, replace it with 1 building hour. If you reduce 30 minutes of mindless scrolling, use that time to read, train, plan, or create. Replacement stabilizes change. From a behavioral science perspective, habits are easier to change when cues remain, but routines shift. If you are used to picking up your phone when bored, instead of trying to eliminate the urge entirely, redirect it. Open a note-taking app. Review your goals. Read something intentional. Gradual redirection builds sustainable discipline. There is also a deeper insight in the audit process. When you measure your time, you begin to see patterns. You notice when your energy drops. You notice when distractions spike. You notice what environments trigger waste. Awareness gives you strategic advantage. You might realize that your focus collapses in the afternoon. That tells you to schedule deep work earlier. You might notice that certain people or places consistently lead to distraction. That tells you to create boundaries. You stop guessing. You start designing. Time auditing is not about shaming yourself. It is about reclaiming control. Control does not come from intention alone. It comes from structure. Once you see where your time goes, you can implement a simple shift. Protect the first hour of your day for building. No maintenance, no drain, just growth. That single adjustment can transform your trajectory. Compounding works quietly. 1 focused hour per day becomes 5 per week, 20 per month, hundreds per year. And those hours, if invested well, reshape your skill, your body, your mind, your opportunities. People underestimate compounding because it looks small daily. But small daily discipline creates massive long-term difference. If you continue giving 2 hours a day to draining habits, that becomes over 700 hours per year. Imagine redirecting even half of that into something meaningful. That is how lives change. Time auditing also reveals emotional patterns. You may notice that you waste time when you feel stressed, or lonely, or uncertain. That insight is valuable. It shows you that distraction is not the problem. It is a symptom. Instead of attacking yourself, ask, what feeling am I trying to escape? When you understand the emotional trigger, you can address it directly. You can build healthier coping mechanisms. Movement instead of scrolling. Conversation instead of isolation. Planning instead of avoidance. This turns time management into self-mastery. From an energetic perspective, auditing your time increases intentionality. When you observe your patterns without denial, you reclaim authority over them. You shift from unconscious repetition to conscious design. And conscious design changes outcomes. After you audit, simplify. Choose one draining habit to reduce. Choose one building habit to increase. Commit for 30 days. Do not overwhelm yourself with 10 changes. Focus creates consistency. Consistency creates identity. Remember, the goal is not perfection, it is progress. Over time, your days begin to look different, more deliberate, less scattered. You feel less guilt at night because you know where your hours went. You feel less anxiety because you are not guessing about your performance. Clarity reduces stress. You are no longer drifting through time. You are directing it. And once you direct your time intentionally, your results stop feeling random. They start feeling earned. Chapter 14. Willpower is overrated. Environment is stronger. Most people try to become disciplined by fighting themselves all day. They rely on motivation. They rely on mood. They rely on bursts of inspiration. And when those fade, so does their consistency. But behavior is shaped less by intention and more by design. If your phone is always within reach, you will check it. If your workspace is cluttered, your mind will feel cluttered. If distractions are one tap away and your goals require effort to access, guess which one you will choose under pressure. The easier option wins. That is not weakness. That is human wiring. Your brain is constantly seeking efficiency. It chooses the path of least resistance. So if you want better habits, you must make better choices easier and worse choices harder. This is environmental design. Start with your physical space. Is your workspace set up for focus or distraction? Are unnecessary tabs open? Are notifications active? Is your phone on the desk? Is your environment signaling productivity or chaos? Clutter competes for attention. Even when you are not consciously thinking about it, your brain is processing it. Every visible object pulls at cognitive resources. Clean space reduces noise. Reduced noise increases focus. Simplicity strengthens discipline. Design your workspace so that when you sit down, the only obvious action is to begin meaningful work. If you want to read more, keep a book visible. If you want to exercise, keep your equipment accessible. If you want to write, open the document before you start your day. Lower friction for growth. Now increase friction for distraction. Move distracting apps off your home screen. Turn off non-essential notifications. Put your phone in another room during focus blocks. Log out of social media on your computer. You are not banning distraction forever. You are controlling access to it. Small barriers make impulsive behavior less automatic. From a behavioral science perspective, habits are strongly cue-driven. If the cue is visible and the reward is immediate, the behavior is likely to repeat. Change the cue. Change the visibility. Change the accessibility. You weaken the habit loop. Design beats desire. From a deeper level, environment influences your internal energy. Clean, structured spaces create psychological stability. Noise and clutter create subtle tension. Order supports clarity. Your outer environment mirrors your inner state, and your inner state reflects your outer environment. Change one, and the other follows. You also need to design your digital environment intentionally. Your phone is a portal. It can either support your growth or fracture your focus. Curate what you consume. Remove sources that consistently trigger comparison, negativity, or distraction. Add content that reinforces your direction. Use technology as a tool, not a trap. You are not powerless against your environment. You are its architect. Another powerful strategy is time blocking. Do not leave your day open to chance. Pre-decide where your hours go. Assign focused blocks for deep work. Assign blocks for maintenance tasks. Assign time for rest. When time is pre-structured, you reduce decision fatigue. You eliminate unnecessary negotiation. Negotiation weakens discipline. Pre-decisions strengthen it. For example, from 8 to 9, deep work. From 9 to 9:30, communication. From 10 to 11, project focus. When you design your day this way, you do not wake up wondering what to do. You execute. Of course, flexibility is necessary. Life shifts. But a flexible structure is different from no structure at all. Without structure, urgency rules. With structure, intention rules. You should also design your social environment. Spend more time around people who respect your boundaries, who support your growth, who challenge you positively. Distance yourself from patterns that consistently pull you backward. You become the average of the standards you are exposed to regularly. Raise the standards in your environment, and you raise them within yourself. Finally, design your recovery environment. Your bedroom should signal rest, not stimulation. Dim lights, reduce screens, create calm. Your body needs cues to relax. Quality sleep sharpens focus. Sharp focus strengthens discipline. You cannot build strength on exhaustion. Design supports consistency. Consistency supports identity. Identity supports long-term success. Stop relying on motivation alone. Motivation fluctuates. Environment remains. If you shape your environment wisely, discipline becomes easier. Focus becomes natural. Growth becomes sustainable. You are not trying to fight your impulses constantly. You are building a system where your impulses align with your goals. That is intelligent self-leadership. Design your space. Design your time. Design your digital input. Design your associations. Because when your environment supports your standards, progress stops feeling forced. It becomes your default. Chapter 15. Multitasking feels productive. It feels efficient. It feels fast. It feels like you are handling more than everyone else. But in reality, multitasking is controlled distraction. When you divide your attention between tasks, you do not perform both well. You switch, and every switch carries a cost. Your brain has to disengage from one context and reload another. That transition consumes energy. It reduces depth. It increases errors. You feel busy, but your output weakens. Single tasking is a lost skill. It is the ability to sit with one meaningful task and give it full attention until it is complete or meaningfully progressed. It sounds simple, but in a world of constant interruption, it is rare, and rarity creates advantage. When you single task, you enter depth. Depth produces quality. Quality produces results that stand out. From a cognitive standpoint, the brain performs best when focused on one objective at a time. Sustained attention activates deeper neural networks responsible for creativity, problem-solving, and long-term memory. Fragmented attention keeps you in shallow processing. Shallow processing creates shallow results. Single tasking is not slower. It is more efficient in the long run. Think about how often you start something, then pause to check something else, then return. Each return requires mental reconstruction. You reread, you rethink, you regain context. That repetition wastes time silently. But when you stay with one task, momentum builds naturally. You understand the problem more deeply. You see patterns more clearly. You complete work faster and with higher quality. There is also an identity shift in single tasking. When you commit to one task fully, you train yourself to tolerate focus. You train yourself to resist distraction. You strengthen patience. Patience builds mastery. Mastery requires depth. Depth requires presence. Most people never reach mastery because they never stay with anything long enough to go deep. Single tasking demands intentional structure. Choose one priority. Define a clear start and end time. Remove distractions. Commit fully, even if it is just 30 minutes at first. Treat it seriously. When your mind tries to wander, gently bring it back. Do not judge yourself. Just return. Return enough times, and focus becomes natural. From an energetic perspective, single tasking concentrates your life force. Instead of leaking attention across multiple directions, you channel it into one. That concentration creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence reinforces discipline. There is also emotional benefit. When you finish something completely, you feel satisfaction. Closure. That feeling motivates further progress. But when you juggle many half-finished tasks, you feel scattered and incomplete. Completion creates peace. Single tasking also forces prioritization. You cannot do everything at once, so you must choose what matters most. That choice strengthens clarity. Clarity reduces overwhelm. When you try to do 5 things simultaneously, you feel pressure. When you do one thing intentionally, you feel control. Control increases resilience. In practical terms, begin your day by selecting the most meaningful task. Give it your best mental hours. Do not check messages in between. Do not jump tasks midway. Finish or reach a defined milestone before shifting. If interruptions occur, handle them after the block, not during it. You are training yourself to work in waves of depth rather than in constant noise. Over time, this builds a reputation within yourself. You become someone who finishes, someone who produces quality, someone who respects their focus, and that reputation strengthens your internal authority. Single tasking is not about rigidity. It is about intention. You choose when to focus deeply. You choose when to communicate. You choose when to rest. Choice restores power. Most people let interruptions dictate their rhythm. Strong people create rhythm deliberately. Rhythm builds stability, and stability builds sustainable progress. You do not need to work longer hours. You need to work deeper hours. Depth multiplies effort. If you commit to just 1 or 2 deep blocks per day, you will outpace those who scatter their energy all day long. Because while they are busy reacting, you are building. Choose depth. Choose presence. Choose to do one thing at a time, fully, and watch how your results begin to reflect the quality of your focus. You do not control time. You control what you give your attention to inside it. Every rule in this system comes back to one truth. Your life moves in the direction of your focus. When you choose what matters, protect your attention, act with discipline, recover with intention, and reset without delay, your days stop feeling chaotic. They start feeling constructed. This is not about doing more. It is about aligning your hours with your values. You decided what matters. You reduced distraction. You built structure. You strengthened identity. You protected energy. You anchored vision. Now the responsibility is simple. Repeat. Not perfectly, consistently. If you drift, return. If you fall, reset. If you feel resistance, act anyway. Time will keep moving. The question is whether it carries growth or regret. Respect your minutes. Guard your focus. Live deliberately. Because your future is not built in grand moments. It is built in ordinary hours used with intention. If this audiobook gave you even one moment of clarity, share it with someone who might need the same pause. And subscribe, so next time, calm finds you first.